This is the EcoMobl ET from EcoMobl. It's one of their all-terrain skateboards. We got 6-inch Honeycomb wheels. We got dual 2,000 watt planetary geared hub motors there on the side facing you. Wide 15-inch wide trucks that really help with the stability on this board. Good dimensions. There's a drop deck. You can see all those dimensions down in the description field. Honeycomb tires, so you aren't going to get any flats, and they seem like they do a pretty good job on the cushioning. Like, it's a very industrial like looking setup, and on the side here you got these lighting strips, and I'll put in some video of that. The lighting on this thing is pretty great, but you got it. What it is basically equal to a 48 volt 12 amp hour battery in here in the bottom of the deck. So I was getting pretty good range, almost 19 miles of range, and that's riding like 13 to 15 miles per hour, which is kind of how I tend to ride this board, even though it has a top speed of advertised 35 miles per hour. I would not doubt you can get maybe close to that, but I don't get anywhere close to that myself. If you have much over like size 12 feet, you might actually get some toe overlap that might not be great, but having this drop down deck, you have some nice usable deck space. And in terms of like some of the belt drive boards, you actually kind of don't have some of that deck space usable. You got two 2,000 watt planetary geared hub motors, and they do definitely help out with the speed front, but I found them a little lacking on the torque, and we're actually going to do a little hill climb on the path and see how that works. I'll put in some footage of some climbing I did out in the grass. No.
Let me try.
Okay.
Is it in the fastest, highest setting?
It is.
Number 4. What is it? Go number 4?
Yep, 4. I feel like it just didn't get in the midpoint. It just doesn't have a lot of like low torque grunt.
Okay. This, for my feet, I got size 13s. And this board's too small.
Yeah, I could tell. All right, Reggie's trying it.
This feels like it's slipping.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just dies in the middle of the hill. Turn the board on. You have a button and charge port here on the underside of the deck, under on the rear side by the motors. Turn it on with a beep. Turn on your remote. Gives you battery. I'm not sure I'll be able to see the battery of both the remote and the board. You can change braking and speed limits and all that normal good stuff. So I had a little concerns with this board on off-roading and hill climbing. I felt like the torque really wasn't doing nearly much it should have been, having basically 4,000 watts of motors here. So I'm going to see how we do climbing this hill, see if it does a little better. Alright, well, it climbs up the hill no problem. On a paved surface, I think the traction might have been more the issue than the power, actually. To turn up the braking, you hold the brake back and then you hit the select button to change the brake. I'm going to turn to 1 braking level, go down the hill this way, see how it goes. So the control on the remote's not fine, but once you get it, you can just hold it in there pretty well. And my feet are small enough that I'm not really having any interference with those wheels overlapping, but I could see if you did have bigger feet, you might have that problem. So you can probably hear there, the noise is probably the most obtrusive thing with it. It's got real good stability. Remote says I'm going 14. I can ride this board probably about 18 pretty comfortably, which is about, for me, you know, what I would expect, honestly. But you know, if you want a commuting board, I think this is really good for around town. You know, provided you're okay with the sound, just because it's got such great lighting. And I guess the positive thing of the sound, EcoMobl said it was not an issue with the board. That's just the way they are. Is it does alert to people you're coming, so that's kind of, I guess, a benefit of it. They said you could add some white lithium grease inside of with the planetary gears to sort of take some of that out of there. You know, do that if you will, I suppose. Right on. There we go. Now we got our lights on. I mean, the all-terrain nature of this board, it does nice on like gravel surfaces and such, but I was noticing on like grass and mud, and I think the tires just really aren't up for the task. We'll punch it a little bit here. Woo. I mean, it has plenty of kick on a flat ground, but you can probably tell there. I mean, the stability for this kind of stuff is really great. All right, I'm just going to this grass real quick and I do want to point out that you can run this board forward and backwards. When you're riding, it's forward to go, back to brake in either direction. Double click of the power button, changes the direction. This is what I did my range test at, about this speed, about 13 to 15. And I got 19 miles of projected range, so pretty dang good. Carving was pretty nice on this board. I think with most boards that are longboard, I mean, you just have a little bit of an obstacle in terms of low speed maneuverability, just because you can't make a super tight radius turn. I'm going to try something my buddy Reggie said he could do on his Meepo Hurricane. So I'm going to go in the steepest part of the hill. I'm actually going to stop, then I'm going to accelerate again, try not to fall off the back of the board like I almost just did. Not bad. I can feel yeah, the torque is just not quite fantastic on there. The EcoMobl ET. It's a pretty solid board, really. Good stability, kind of noisy motors, company potentially sketchy to deal with, good range, great lighting. If you have questions, ask them below. All right, that's it for me. That's the EcoMobl ET.